Welcome back, welcome back. You are still tuned into Fantastic Fridays, and we're here with you every Friday and on a Friday, when a name Friday, from 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. And from you hear that song, you know what time it is. It is time for Talk the Ting with Kim. And for this discussion today, we'll be discussing toxic relationships, signs, types, and how to overcome. So I see if everybody gets excited for the 1 year. Everybody in toxic relationship and is like we antenna jump up because we feel like we have a lot to say, probably because of our own relationship experiences. But we're gonna get into it because I know this is a hot topic. So guys, if you're on the live, just know that we really value the feedback. We really value your comments. I learn from you guys as much as you guys might be learning from me. So yeah, man, feel free to share your experiences, your responses, your opinions. All right. I'll be checking for them. So, a toxic relationship. Before I even get into the definition, what do you think? Because since everybody's using the term toxic, what do you describe the term a toxic relationship to be or to mean?
I think it is something that is unstable. Not it's unstable. There are a lot of red flags. You like to carnival and parade in them. It is not giving something that will last. Well, I think toxic relationships might last, but it's not giving a level of maturity and growth, maturity. Is that right?
So you say it's immature, lack growth, it's unstable, and a bugger red flag.
Found about time, yeah.
All right, interesting. So MV, what you say? What is a toxic, in your definition, what's a toxic relationship?
No, so like toxic is poisonous. Yes, so like if the relationship not feeding, not growing, if it's actually causing more stress than what the opposite of stress? Blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
it's more a curse than a blessing.
Right. So if somebody, if me said to somebody in a relationship, toxic.
Yeah.
You know, so you couldn't.
Yeah.
You and your partner constantly at odds because of certain psychological clashes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I like that. All right, Mr. Fresh Concept, what do you define a toxic relationship to be? Bad girl Chevy said, from you hear the word toxic, it means poison. That's all she have to say.
Yeah, I mean, MV and Jada on the right path there, I would believe. Toxic, you're getting a vibe that it's something that's not good for you, something that's not healthy. So basically, it's if they say, boy, if it's something that's toxic, that means it's basically killing you. So it's gonna be probably killing the relationship as well. So for your own safety, stay away from things that are toxic. You know, that's my recommendation. So it can be good for you. That's what I see here.
All right, I like that. And you guys actually aren't far off from what I have as my definition. So a toxic relationship is one that makes you feel unsupported, misunderstood, demeaned, or attacked. A relationship is toxic when your well-being is threatened in some way, whether emotionally, psychologically, as MV said, and even physically. On a basic level, any relationship that makes you feel worse rather than better can become toxic over time. Toxic relationships can exist in just about any context, from friendships, so it's not only man and woman, this is actually friendships as well, to the workplace. You can have a toxic work environment with your work relationship with your boss or your co-workers, and it also extends to the one that we're more familiar with, romantic relationships. You may even deal with toxic relationships among your family members. Yes guys, it exists in a lot spaces. And I am Avian is saying project the voices a little more please.
Yep.
So we're gonna ask the persons in studio to project your voices. But Avian, what you say? What is a toxic relationship, right? Let me know what your opinion is. So it's also important to note that people with mental illnesses such as bipolar disorder, major depression, or even depressive tendencies may be particularly susceptible to toxic relationships since they are already sensitive to negative emotions. So here's what you need to know about toxic relationships, including what makes a relationship toxic and how to determine if you are in one. You'll also find tips for effective ways to manage these types of relationships. So let's get into first and foremost the signs of a toxic relationship. So before I even get into what I have, I just want 3 things from each of you that you would say, all right, if you have this present in a relationship, it's toxic.
I would say
3 things.
Well, right off the bat, physical abuse.
All right, yeah.
You have 2
3 things per person.
Oh, per person. We're working as a team. We can't chip in anyone.
But yeah, anybody can chip in. So physical abuse, definitely toxic.
I would say the makeup and breakup.
Oh, that back and forth, definitely toxic.
And constant arguing. So there is just this indefinite cycle of you arguing, which leads to the makeup and then the breakup and all of that over again. And the third thing for me would have been, I would say, the name calling. That you with somebody, and the first thing they do,
disrespecting,
right?
stuff.
So the first thing they do once they're upset is call it out of your name or get real angry and irate with you. I'm gonna do better with that.
Alright, I like those.
Specific on these.
I like those.
I watch a lot of Lifetime movies.
What is it, MV? What's 3 things?
So what I add is arguments without
a solution.
a plan for solution.
Okay.
Like a plan. Like
So it's an argue for argue's sake.
No, not just for argument's sake, but you argue because of issues that you're not
Resolving.
Right?
Okay.
You know,
like you're on 2 different. What did I say? We're not seeing eye to eye.
Yeah.
We have
We're
a
not
problem.
on the same page.
We have a problem, but problem issue is like, oh, MB shouted at me for something, but MB is like, I shouted at you because you did something. And my issue is like, but you should have shouted.
And we keep going back and forth between that, but we're not fixing.
We're not fixing it.
Right.
Never ending side.
Alright.
Very toxic trait.
Yeah. And it's very prevalent, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. The next one would be knowing that you really don't want the person, but because you don't want to see the person with nobody else.
It just sounds toxic already. I never know.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that's what you call it now. That's that jealous and selfish.
Yeah, like
You don't want the person.
You know what? Yeah.
You're jealous of them going to somebody else.
You know what? You're happy with nobody else.
Yeah.
But I don't really want you, but I'm going to keep you.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my back pocket.
Yeah.
What'll be the next toxic? Showing one line now.
Alright, that's one more and then we go.
Yeah.
That's one more. And I see Avian said physical and verbal abuse. So that ties into the name calling and the shouting at and all of that.
I remember these wonderful big words from Kimmie and they taught the thing with Kim show. Constant gaslighting.
Who's saying all that? I like it. But can you explain?
Friday, 5 to 8, we're there.
But for those who don't know the term, because before I learned the term, I kept hearing gaslighting and probably I'll use it 2 times but never know what it means.
Right.
So can you tell us what the gaslighting means?
Alright, from my friends over at Texaco and it Gas Pro. Gaslighting, really and truly, it basically means, from my understanding, that it's when a person kind of wants you or manipulates you to believe that something is not so when it is in fact actually so. For example,
like you are the problem.
When you see this, so for example, let's say you put your book on the TV shelf, right? And you take it, and them take it up, and you say to them, say, yo, you take up my book. And their little response, even though them know that them take up the book, their little response is, you see me take up the book?
Yeah. What are you talking about? You did put a book there for you?
Also, them say everything else except the truth.
So they make it
just
start
to make you
yourself.
believe that, you're thinking crazy.
Alright, so guys, I have to give Lionel a passing grade. He did well. That really is. So he's been learning.
5 shots there.
Right.
Relax.
So I love that everything that you guys have mentioned will come out at some point in my discussions. I'm really glad that you guys have an understanding. So then I just drop the word toxic because it's a popular word. It seemed like we don't have a fair understanding of toxicity.
I have a question though. Do we have an understanding or we have an experience?
Well, from the experience, you gain understanding. So the minute you see it again, you're like, nope, this feels toxic. Let me take up myself,
This
so it's an understanding.
was talking about.
Exactly. So one thing I I want you guys to notice or note is only you can tell if the bad outweighs the good in any relationship, right?
Sure?
Nobody can tell it for you. You have, because something that something that I may deem as negative, somebody else might be like, no, it does spicy, or she does spicy, you know, she put an attitude, I'm gonna like it. But somebody else might be like, no, I'm not deal with that. So you have to determine what is toxic for you.
I don't want to. I'm just gonna add this quickly. When I was talking to someone, not just friends, and he moves on to say he was being serious with this one particular female, and there were certain things that he liked to begin with. Like, for example, he would go out and she'd just randomly show up, and he's like, oh yeah, I like that. And I was like, but he didn't say it, but I figured, I was like, I bet at first he thought that was cute. You go out and the girl just randomly show up. Hey, I'm over by your car. You thought that was cute.
We need a siren for when toxic things pop up.
Until it started to get real, because at first he could be like, oh, it's a coincidence,
she just really like me, and I get it. She just missed me.
Until it became real toxic. The girl used to do the most, so everywhere he went, she was there. She knew all the friends, she knew all the best friends, she knew people that he didn't even remember talking to. So like, his job is to interact with people, customer service and whatever. Also, you were talking to that girl in the pink shorts today, and he's like, what girl in the pink shorts? I was like, oh, here it is.
Evidence?
Where are you?
People,
these are examples of toxicity, and that's why I said only you can tell if the bad outweighs the good in any relationship, right? But if someone consistently threatens your well-being by what they're saying, doing, or not doing, it's likely a toxic relationship. So relationships that involve physical or verbal abuse, as you guys have hit the nail on the head, are definitely toxic. That's definitely classified as toxic. But there are other more subtle signs of a toxic relationship, and let's get through them. So for one, you're giving more than you're getting. So you're putting in more effort than your partner to make the relationship work, which makes you feel devalued and depleted. So that's probably a more subtle sign of toxicity. So if the relationship is very much one-sided, you have to, every time something go wrong, you have to fix it. Every time something arise, you have to make the effort.
No, I'm saying. Remember, we mentioned that that was a part of our first topic for this year. Things we are not putting up with in 2024.
That means he's been learning.
He wasn't here, but that was one. We are not staying in one-sided relationships.
I like that.
So, and it's a follow-up.
Bad girl Chevy said, I know men who act like they want you and give you everything, and when you leave your partner for them, then they do you dirt.
Whoa, what?
Whoa.
So in other words, them paint the picture like, listen, your relationship, your man love you like me can love you, so them do the world for you. And then you say, alright, you know what? Over there, the grass look greener over there. Let me jump over there, and then them do worse than the original man.
You know what?
That's toxic.
It was all a ploy.
You know what I found out with that grass being greener on the other side type of thing? The grass can only look greener if you're not watering your own.
Exactly, right? So it's something that we need to look into. So have you guys experienced that, as we're just saying, you're giving more than you're getting, a one-sided relationship? Well, you can relate to that toxic?
Well, for assistance with your grass needs, call Jamfos. I'm big up a bedroom place. Call Jamfos. Big them up. No man, guys, them did the grass. They make sure they get the green. No man.
Hold on, my advertisement now help the conversation. No, because all of a sudden I say, hold on, if him can provide greener grasses, I can just take you services over there.
No man, contact Jam First. They're online based, but you can just look them up on IG. Jam Flooring and Outdoor Services.
Grass green everywhere. It have more about grass being greener anywhere.
Just worry about your
so
own
look for them online at IG. Jam Flooring and Outdoors. Once you see that, you click on it and you.
But for real though, I want to know: have you guys experienced that feeling like a relationship, or have seen it?
Of course.
Being very one-sided.
One of the best things about people is that you never yet know them until you get the chance to know them. So let me tell you, I promise you things, you don't know them. So it looks all lovely from the outside, but trust me, once you spend time with them, you realize, wait, that story and all them because that's why
it does not add up.
That's why as I see, I think they would say men catch ladies with lyrics and then women catch men with the image. You get what I'm saying? So that is what them catch you with it, but that might not be the true reflection of what will
not
take
the
place.
effort. But another sign you can look out for is feeling consistently disrespected or that your needs are disregarded. So you guys mentioned that whole disrespect thing, getting called out to your name, getting shouted at, and you probably express say, yo, I don't like when you do that, but it's still happening, stuff like that. So that's another thing that you guys would agree is a sign of a toxic relationship, or that that's somewhat normal.
Wait, it depends to what extent you're being shouted at. For example, no, it does.
Is it a fun shout?
No, like
Jada.
No, the decibels. She said if it's past 15 decibels.
There is.
I mean, listen, you're saying that you give them a blind, probably, like
for example, there's an emergency or something happening and you need my attention. I can understand.
No, we don't talk about that, Jada.
I just don't know. Like.
You see, I would.
You think me a man if we in a danger and you say Kim, and I say come on shouting at me, done with him shouting at me.
Come on, tell me where Jada come. I will not move because you are shouting.
How dare you?
Say that again.
No, Jada, really, really.
There's certain instances where shouting is fine.
That shouldn't even come up.
What I would like to say to me. To clarify the question that you want, I would put probably one time I might say, boy, you give them a blind, but I would put constant or consistent disrespect under abuse, verbal abuse sometimes, and sometimes some physical disrespect. And when you have people probably all put their hand for your forehead and push it up, it might not be a physical damage where your forehead sink in or you get a cut. But that type of activity is disrespectful, and I would call that physical abuse.
It doesn't always probably fall under abuse, right?
It doesn't,
but it can.
To consistently
do it.
People are saying, wait, I don't know abuse, but if it's constant or repeated, I think that's reach a level where you can start calling it abuse or assault.
And what about the part, the needs being disregarded? Oh, I see a comment from Bad Girl Chevy saying, you know what's toxic? When you have your problem and ghosting your partner.
That's a different type of toxic. I would think so as well.
But if they ghost you, technically them take the toxicity away from you.
No, but as a partner, if you say
as a partner,
I've experienced that already, and I said to the young lady, I said, excuse me, I said, if you and me in a relationship and you withdraw yourself, as them call ghosting, which is done without no farmer coming, it's just a bam thing.
You just can't.
I'm saying that's not a healthy thing for
either
you or the relationship.
I used to do that, and in my defense, that person used to drive me crazy because you sit in that conversation and you're going back and forth.
So y'all were toxic.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what, wrap this up.
I think I'm an expert in this.
In a good way?
In a good way.
Okay.
Because
no, but it might be a bad good way.
No, man, it's a good way.
A good way.
You see, with toxic female, look,
choose your words.
No, we know some exist.
So wait, me say toxic female.
I take it personal.
She defend our group.
We have friends out there that we don't know what them.
She defend the club.
The reality is there's some toxic females out there. So continue.
And they're recruiting actually now.
Or women in general, but certain women specifically, when the argument hot, you can't resolve it this way.
Right.
You have to give them some time.
Right.
Allow them to ghost you or be silent for a period of time. When it starts get too long now, and you can determine what's too long for you.
Yeah.
When it starts get too long now, that's when would I say get toxic. But you have to,
But I don't think ghosting should even still be a thing, and I get what you're trying to get at, but I've seen where a person say, listen, I really can't deal with this now because I'm probably not gonna deal with it in the way I should. So give me that's communication.
Exactly.
Even asking for space is still not ghosting, but me know it's not like me I want like a ghosting means you not give me a heads up and you just take me yourself.
Exactly. And
so me know how you feel. Me know if you're gone out woman yard, me don't know how you feel, me know if you're gone out on the road a drink. I don't know what you're doing because you didn't communicate anything. But if you tell me, say, yo, Kim, right now I'm too upset to deal with this, I'm probably go out of character. Give me some time. You talk to you tomorrow. That's different. That's maturity. That's still space.
No, but not only that, Kimmie. When envy talk about the heat and the matter and all and stuff, when we say ghosted envy, we don't mean we have an argument now and the two we walk out from the argument. And
because we are aware
we are both aware that there's an argument. Ghosting we are talking about is like you say, all right, lady, bye, good night, have a sweet sleep. And you wake up the following morning and say, hey, good morning, lady. And she probably block you or you're not getting a reply for the rest of the day.
Yeah, but no,
that is ghosting.
There's no
ghosting means there's no express situation.
I don't know my views different.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a man, you have to tough and know, say, alright, that girl truly respect you. Let's give her a time, man. If she really, if you don't have something, it will be resolved. That's the moment when you have to trust the relationship.
I will disagree.
And know, say, alright.
So why not say if she respect you, she will communicate.
Communicate that she needed the space.
Communication is not always necessary in certain aspects.
Alright, so I like that you mentioned that, because one of the things we've mentioned a lot throughout a lot of our recordings is that each relationship have them different rules. So probably in MV relationship you must say, listen, you don't even tell me if you say any space. But done as a man get to, alright, that's how some women deal with stuff, and I'm gonna just give that, and that's fine. For somebody else, that might be a problem.
No, I realize you don't misunderstand something. If this is always how it's dealt with, that's a problem, you know.
But if that one
thing is, if let's say the argument is bad, and that happened,
I think what Lionel was saying that there was no argument.
There's no argument.
Let's say I have
just go
an
eat
issue.
ice cream and you gone home and say, alright, I drop you home, you drop her home, you gone in the yard. And then tomorrow, no, I remember saying we start talking about
she dropped us. Yeah, she dropped another. She said you have she was actually going into the whole friendship aspect. She also said you have toxic friendships where you find a better man than you had before, and they start telling you a lot of lies, like your partner isn't good for you. That's actually another thing. That's why I said, guys, toxicity is not only in romantic relationships. You own a friend, you own a family. Can be toxic too. Because when we
see a person who are good for them child.
And then when we hear stories, I'm serious, only lifetime when you own a mother and sleep with your husband and all that. I never knew so them things are prevalent.
Something I go on to Jamaica. I know a man who impregnate two sisters.
No, so, listen, I'm gonna say your own family can be very toxic, right? So that's one of the things. So when you bleep. So when you feel consistently disrespected or that your needs are disregarded, right? That's another sign that you're in a toxic relationship. When your talks are typically laced with sarcasm or criticism or driven by contempt. So it's like, even just to talk to the person, you ever see the people that when you talk to them, it's like regular, normal. But once someone talks to a specific person, it's like a different version of them come out and just get very petty and very sarcastic. And I've seen that in relationships, right? And I think that, well, for me, that's another sign of toxicity. You've gotten so... you've gotten into a point in a relationship where you can't even have decent conversation. Any little thing, I have to pick up the picnic from school. Listen, make sure the way they deliver it is just toxic.
No, but your persons like that who, as I said, that one of those specific situations is when they are co-parenting. You're gonna have every single issue to find a problem with, and that's probably because, as we say, for that case, there's an unresolved issue. Probably they're not happy with the breakup. Probably they're not happy that you've moved on. And that happens in the current relationship as well. Probably with somebody and them not like, say, probably you still have a female best friend. Or probably, they know one of your ex or you work together. Some mix up, but they always have some contention against a person and they take it out on you or it shows in the relationship.
Man, it's a whole lot to dig into. We may have to eventually have a part 2. I'm telling you guys, I have a whole lot of information here. But we're gonna go to our break. The last thing is, my girl Chevy said, I know a mother and daughter that have the same baby father.
Wow.
And she said, call me toxic because I tell my daughter not to talk to her classmate that put her head in the bin.
What a process I want there. I'll go to the break. We'll be right back.
I love it.